Welcome everyone to my review of IDW Sonic issue 71 and part 3 of the Phantom Riders arc. Ah yes, the name of the arc. Recently, solicitations for the next trade paperback came out, and it's called Extreme Competition. Make no mistake, this current arc does have some extreme competition, and it would be a fitting name for it. However, two things prevent me from doing so. Number 1, the trade only contains part of the arc, i.e. issue 69 to this very issue 71, as well as Spring Broken and Winter Jam for some reason. This leads to number 2, and I'll go ahead and put my spoiler warnings for this issue and all future solicitations here, because the one for issue 74 also recently came out, and it calls this arc Phantom Riders, so I'm sticking with it. Besides, I think Phantom Riders is the better title. Alright, let's recap what's happening so far before we get into today's issue. Sonic assumed the identity of the Phantom Rider to distract everyone so Tails and Amy could sneak aboard the Restoration Shuttle. Sonic's distraction caused a number of things to happen. Jet becoming obsessed with the Rider, a disaster nearly happened while trying to apprehend the Rider, Surge and Kit were hailed as heroes for driving the Rider off, and Clutch ordered Mimic to expose him. Meanwhile, as Tails and Amy searched the machine shop for clues, they came across Belle's hand, which led them to Belle herself trapped in a locker. Tails and Amy free Belle and reattach her right hand. The wooden puppet bot explains how she ended up in the locker and who was responsible. She was tinkering with some of the extreme gear, and when she was about to get to Team Sonic's, she was confronted by some Clean Sweep Inc. goons who did not want her to notice the sabotage. And just before she's locked up, she caught a glimpse of a certain possum in the background. After describing what he looked like, Amy right away knows who's responsible for all of this, and say goodbye to Tails, Amy, and Belle as they won't appear for the rest of the issue. The following day, Clean Sweepstakes holds its next competition, Extreme Dodgeball. Sonic prepares for his next outing as the Phantom Rider, however someone else beats him to the punch. The second Phantom Rider claims to have taken out Duo by waving his scarf like a trophy before putting it on, as well as riding Duo's board. But in reality, Phantom Rider 2 is Mimic in disguise. He's briefly stopped by the new Diamond Cutters until he takes a dodgeball and aggressively knocks Lanolin into the water. Mimic Rider flies off, and Tangle, Whisper, Surge, Kit, and the Babylon Rogues follow him, while they themselves are being tailed by Sonic's Phantom Rider. Mimic's not done screwing with everyone, because he then takes Surge's form to taunt Whisper about the Dynamo Cage incident in Central City, as well as threatening Tangle. And yes, that is Mimic. He's using the fog to help mask his appearance, and there's no Kit in the immediate vicinity. The real Surge has Kit by her side at all times during this, and they just arrived in the area. Naturally, a fight breaks out between the two parties, and the Babylon Rogues want in on the action. Nearby, Sonic's trying to figure out how to deal with the conflict. That's when Mimic makes his move and disables Sonic's helmet. During the struggle, a multitude of random projectiles launch from the Extreme gear, including a missile that strikes the nearby rock. Mimic bails, but before Sonic can follow, he has to deal with the fact that his identity has been revealed to everyone present. There's a more pressing concern at the moment, namely the big rock the missile damaged. It's toppling towards the three pursuing parties, and they have no choice but to bail, lest they get crushed. And now comes the fallout from this revelation. The Babylon Rogues discuss why would Sonic do this if he's usually doing the hero shtick. They come to the conclusion that Clean Sweep Inc. is trying to ruin the Restoration's goodwill, Clean Sweepstakes is a scam, and Sonic figured it all out. Jet then comes up with a new plan. They will expose Clean Sweep Inc. and get all the praise for being heroes. Presumably, that is. At the very least, they want some payback against the one running this sham. Surge and Kit are discussing their job for Clutch, and Surge is conflicted. She thought it would be a simple gig, but thanks to the sweepstakes, people are starting to love and praise her. For example, a little girl walks up to Surge, saying how cool she is and wants to be just like her. After the girl's mother takes her away, Surge, having her first experience as a role model, says she cannot do Clutch's dirty work anymore. Kit's fully on board with this. I mean, he has to be. He was made to be Surge's lapdog, lap fennec, but he enjoys seeing Surge light up when the crowd cheers for her. So they're going to try to be legit heroes. On the Restoration Shuttle, Mimic, back in his duo disguise and nursing a head wound he formed himself, begins to manipulate a frustrated Lanolin. He says Tangle and Whisper claim to have chased away the Phantom Rider, but then states that the two might be keeping something from them. Tangle secretly overhears the conversation and then makes a beeline to Whisper's room. Tangle's the one most affected by the Phantom Rider reveal. I mean, she and Sonic are pretty much kindred spirits. She can't believe what she saw, nor can she and Whisper reveal the Phantom Rider's identity to Lanolin. Whisper hands Tangle her mask so she can watch some playback footage. You might be wondering, why didn't she do this during the Silver Mimic incident? In-universe, after the events of the Tangle and Whisper miniseries, Whisper stopped recording from her mask because she thought it wasn't needed anymore. Mimic was captured, and that's that. But after the Silver thing, she started the recordings again because she trusts her mask more than herself. Okay, I'm going to have to give my thoughts on this now. I kinda get why Whisper stopped recording things. She thought she got closure on the whole Mimic incident, and the recordings did come in handy for her. However, she should have resumed the recordings the moment she heard Mimic was on the loose again, or never stopped at all. Of course, the real reason she didn't start recording things again until recently was because, out of universe, in my opinion, I think the writers either forgot about that mask ability, and or they realized they created a plot hole, were called out for it by the readers, myself included, and this is their flimsy excuse to cover it up. Had Whisper recorded stuff during the Silver incident, the Clean Sweep arc could have ended sooner, or would have gone in a different direction. But whatever, it's being utilized now. So let's have Tangle look at the footage. She notes that the Phantom Rider that attacked during the Extreme Dodgeball event used Duo's board, while Sonic's version always utilized the Extreme gear. And then there's the fact that the Phantom Rider attacked in the first place. All Sonic did was disrupt things, and not cause direct harm. This convinces Tangle that there is more going on, and she wants to start an investigation of her own, with Whisper by her side. This brings us to the last bit of the issue, with Mimic telling Clutch who the Phantom Rider is. Clutch is not happy that it's Sonic himself. He's so mad that he'll, quote, pull out his quills one by one and make him eat 'em. Good luck with that, old man. Clutch regains his composure, blaming the slip-up on him playing around. Now he's ready to get serious, and if the Phantom Rider shows up again, he'll make sure it's the last time. I can kinda see why the Extreme Competition trade paperback covers only issues 69 through 71, because issue 71 is a turning point in the Phantom Rider's arc. Many of the key players now know pieces of a bigger puzzle, and it will determine their actions for the rest of the arc. Let's start with Sonic himself. Him being unmasked in front of certain individuals is a big deal, yes, but there is one element I want to focus on, and that's who did the unmasking. No one saw Mimic during the big moment, but the octopus made a critical error here. He was in his true form. Sonic doesn't know who he is, but if he gets the chance to describe what he looks like to the right people, that'll set off some alarm bells. Those people being Tangle, Whisper, and Tails. Remember, Tails helped contain Mimic before he was transferred to a prison. Sonic will have to be careful from here on out. While the general populace doesn't know he's the Phantom Rider, the key figures might do something that'll jeopardize everything. Next, we have Mimic. He succeeded in his mission to unmask Sonic, while also having some fun in the process. He took the form of the Phantom Rider to mess with everyone. This is not only a play on the evil doppelganger trope found in most media like tokusatsu and this very comic, but it reinforces the fact that Mimic's imitations aren't perfect. The visor is orange compared to Phantom Rider Sonic's red, plus, he cannot replicate the Hardlight Scarf or the Extreme gear, so he had to use the stuff he stole from Duo. It doesn't matter in this case because it was good enough to fool almost everyone there. Plus, I have a feeling Mimic was waiting for an opportunity to cut loose against his teammates, as well as mind screw Whisper as always. The mind screw doesn't end as he's beginning to drive a wedge between he and Lanolin, and Tangle and Whisper. Lanolin was the only member of the team not present during Sonic's unmasking, for obvious reasons. However, the incident that put her out of action made her more aggressive than ever, and I think I know why. She's trying not to go back to the scared and helpless little sheep from issue 2. Mimic's attack, plus the incident with the glass tubes last issue, are more than likely reminders of that time. Mimic instigating things as Duo is not helping as well. So unless Lanolin changes her ways for the better, I don't see this ending well for her. Now for those who know the Phantom Rider's identity. Clutch did not take this revelation well. This reinforces what I've been saying throughout this arc. When Clutch believes he's in control of the situation, he's calm and collected. But when an X Factor comes out to play, well, you can see here that he's shaking and was ready to go on a bit of a violent rampage. Once he regained his composure, he was ready to get down to business and finish his plans before anything else pops up. What Clutch doesn't know is that the unmasking incident has either reinforced or created new X Factors that could throw a wrench into his plans. Surge and Kit, as far as I'm aware, were the ones least affected by the reveal. They were more focused on the crowd loving them during the sweepstakes, and how it's conflicting with their job to sabotage the restoration. It took being a fan for Surge to solidify their decision to actually be heroes. This goes back to what I said last time about Surge being affected by actual positivity. We have seen Surge and Kid do some nasty things in the past, but that was due to the machinations of a mad scientist, and I consider them victims themselves. This could be a chance for them to turn things around. Thing is though, we don't know what they'll do to establish their hero cred. Will they chase down the Phantom Rider again, even after knowing who he is? Will they even expose Clutch's operation? I mean, given Surge's attitude, I don't think it'll be hard for her to do. Whatever the case, I'm kinda rooting for them. At the same time, I have a feeling it might not go well. Tangle and Whisper are poised to start their own investigation on the belief that Sonic has a good reason for his actions, which he does. This kinda brings things back to the dynamic they had during their miniseries. Probably for the best given Mimic's manipulation of Lanolin. And kudos to Tangle for suggesting that Lanolin stay out of this. The Babylon Rogues, believe it or not, figured out the entire Clean Sweep Inc. plot. They just don't know who's responsible, and they're under the mistaken belief that Sonic figured it all out, when in reality, Sonic's just a distraction. Still, it proves that Clutch was unwise to dismiss the trio as airborne morons 2 issues earlier. Now they will look into and expose Clean Sweep Inc. themselves and get the credit they believe they deserved. Again, that's why I assume that's their goal. I mean, look at the way Jet's fuming over Surge's popularity during the Extreme Dodgeball event. And now he's upset about Sonic's supposed role in all this. That being said, the Babylon Rogues do have some honor of their own, and hate being played for fools. So they also plan to get even on the one behind this scam. And if they happen to find Clutch and hear his voice, they, Jet especially, might recognize him as the client who hired them to steal the Echidna relics. Of course, none of the people who discovered Sonic's secret figured out the reason he did it. And it's to keep all prying eyes off one of the original X Factors, the Tails and Amy investigation. And they've hit pay dirt by finding Belle. I called it last time, Belle was present for Extreme Gear maintenance, and she was disposed of before she can take a look at Team Sonic's sabotage boards. It's during her capture that Clutch made a critical error, more or less the same one Mimic did. He was present during a key event, and when Belle described him to Amy, it set off her alarm bells. Apparently I was wrong and Belle didn't recognize Clutch from White Park's resort. To be fair, she was busy trying to free Chow when things went down. And I must state this again, but Belle is extremely lucky she was not scrapped. The detachable hand thing's a new trick Belle learned, in case you're wondering. With a story full of intrigue and investigations, how could I not mention the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog once more? For starters, as people pointed out in the previous video's comments section, Tails checking the trash for clues is a nod to that running gag in the game. Yeah, it completely went over my head. Then there's the fact that Tails and Amy are investigating together in the first place, and then we have the appearance of the conductor's wife, who is the mother of the girl who idolizes Surge, meaning that this is the conductor's daughter. I'll buy it if it's true. As you can see, factions have formed with regards to the clean sweep conspiracy. I'm interested to see where this goes. Obviously, there will be allegiances and opposition when things get underway. So come back next time as the comic enters the next phase of the Phantom Riders arc. I'll see you then. Shame on you, Eggman. You throw in all these wacky projectiles like a soda can, a piano, and a mousetrap complete with cheese, but fail to include the kitchen sink?